there is better signal now from what the comments were to say. It looks like it's saying that got in there into the well. We're here at the well right here. Well, got in there, and I don't know what at what point it cut off. So I just had to go and figure that out, and then come back outside where we hopefully will have more stable internet so we can continue. But what I did is I went inside, nice kind of modern sleep place. Evidently, this place has been around for 12 years. It is a part of a big church. I don't know what the name of the church is, but Christian church. And they've got a K through 12 school here. Anton says no shop Wi-Fi. It's one of those things where like I could try to find the Wi-Fi in the shop, but then it's like, then we'd have to switch to it. And even if I switched to it, evidently the way that YouTube, I'm guessing that based on our experiences these last couple weeks, the way that YouTube whatever server runs, it's not really, once it starts to glitch and freeze or lose it, it doesn't really establish it no matter how much signal I can get back to it. So it's like, it's kind of frustrating in that respect. Like StreamYard will hold, the servers at StreamYard will continue the stream until you can reconnect to it for so many minutes before it actually disconnects. So I don't really understand how this YouTube works. YouTube they don't really tell us too much, or at least I haven't learned much about it. But anyway, so like I said, there's a school here, K through 12, and the school is actually separate than this part of it. There's a youth center here, there's a bookstore, there is the coffee shop, and I know they have a Synesso in there, and the tech is not teching, it's terrible, isn't it? And so I asked him, so why do you, like, we are really in the middle of nowhere. Like, this is like rural Pennsylvania. What in the world is a Synesso Slayer, is a Slayer, whatever it's called, doing here in the middle of it all? And, trying to make nice coffee. And so she was like, well, I guess the guys that run it, this one guy, I think his name was Kyle, has been in coffee for a while. And, so they got some nice stuff. So let's see how nice the coffee is. The first woman, she was like, well, I think espresso's too bitter. I don't think you'll like it. I was like, all right. Which made me wonder, like, does that mean that it's all like loose and runny? I didn't get to see the shot when the other woman was pulling it, but I was listening. You can listen to the way people steam their milk, and the way the sound of her technical steaming sounded perfectly fine. Like at Spro, I could sit in the dining room, hear a barista making the milk, and I would know if they were making it the way that we wanted them to. And so look at this. So it's fairly good. She said, she kind of gave me the caveat. She's like, I don't normally work in this division anymore, or this part here, so I'm just kind of filling in. So it's been a while since I made coffee, but I think texture wise, because she was like, well, the latte art's not very good. I said, I don't care about the latte art, but texture looks pretty good, and you can see it's kind of jiggly, so it's really thin. So that really means that there is a preponderance of milks. And since this is a latte, a 16-ounce latte, we want to see a larger quantity of milk. Now, I don't know how many shots of espresso they put in there. Maybe it's only two shots. Powerplant says the milk is rolling. Is it? Yeah, the milk. Did you were you able to see the milk, hear the milk part? Like, I don't know when it finally cut out. Peter says the bitter is good. Oh yeah, bitter is good. Bitter is good. Yeah, but I was like, uh-oh. Like, if the person that works the register does not have confidence in their product, I was like, now I get a lot of waftiness of this French toast aroma, right? Which, of course, I think should be coming from the muffin, which we're going to get into, because that was what she gave me. She recommended to go with the French toast muffin. Like, I wish they'd be a little more specific. Like, I was asking her, like, well, what do you recommend with that? Well, what do you mean? I said, well, how about something to eat? And she said, well, a muffin. And I said, well, which muffin? Like, I mean, I would like you to, like, guide me, right? I would like the staff to guide me in my adventure, right? So let's have a taste. the there there's a weird sweetness. Smells okay. I think maybe it's just that the espresso is very light in the cup comparatively, and I think that a 16-ounce cup is not. It's not the way, right? It's not the way. This is not the way of the Mandalorian. It's very like watered down, right? The dilution is really high of the espresso, so you don't really get too much of the character. Some of the milk is moderately sweet. It's not terribly sweet. I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's not terribly hot either. Like it didn't take me that long to get situated and come out here. I would think that it should be hotter than this. Like I think they brought it like to 160 and that was it. When you really should bring it closer to 175 so you have some carryover. Kent says, "Oh, we're back. I'm watching the National Brewers Cup Finals. Oh, nice, nice. Anyone looking good out there in the Brewers Cup? I don't know how you watch that though. I think barista is pretty boring as a spectator, but I think Brewers Cup is god awfully worse. Like it's god awful boring. like I remember when they first introduced the Brewers Cup. I remember sitting there thinking, I had pretty much convinced myself there was no way you could get a coffee competition more boring, more dumb than the barista competition. And then they came up with the Brewers, and I was like, this is god awful worse. Like god awful worse. It's like, oh man, terrible, terrible. Norway. There should be some nice stuff in Norway. Yeah. Hi, Peter. Go. So let's have a look here now at what they offered. So this is, wow, that's huge. This is their creme, the French toast muffin. Peter says, let's start a roasting. You know, we were talking about that. Matt, my friend Matt and I were talking about trying to do that, but then it's a lot of work to do that. But the idea was to like, what if we did a roasting competition where you campfire coffee, right? So you'd get some coffee, you'd get this like griddle set up, right? And you get a campfire pot and water, and you would have to build a fire. Then you'd have to roast the coffee, grind it, and then brew it. I thought that would be kind of fun. And all outdoors. Power Plant says styrofoam is cringe. I know, but you know they're with Christ, so it's okay. It's okay, right? It's okay. It's okay. But she warmed it up for me, so that's very nice. Oh, and it's very wow. It's very, very like you know when you pick up muffins and you're like, it's all like, this muffin's heavy. Like it's a heavy muffin. And you know, you pick up a muffin, it's really like, you feel like it's strong, and it's the structural integrity is very good. This one, I'm kind of questioning, like it's very squeezy, and it like feels like it wants to fall apart. Like it feels very like loose in the crumb. It feels very like, actually it feels kind of nice in that respect, but just kind of like you don't really want to like, it's like if you peeled it, like it has this feeling like if I peeled it would like just kind of and fall apart, and you'd be like, oh, now you got a big mess. So we're gonna tear it open here. Kent says, I know one of the finalists. He actually gave me some of the coffee he's using. Ooh. So what is the coffee he gave you, and how is it? All right, the muffin is good. The muffin, nice. So far, at least the muffin top has nice texture, not too terribly sweet. I get it. They have cinnamon, they have sugar, French toast. It is, I guess it does taste French toasty. Oh, wow, look at this. It's super moist. Now that I pulled off the wrapper, there's lots of moisture. I mean, whenever you have to stick your fingers in, you always want it to be moist. So that's a positive. So it's almost like they doused it with like syrup. Well, maybe that's what they do. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now it's getting sweeter. But the interior really, really very like the crumb is very like moist and not undercooked, right? Sometimes you get moist because it's undercooked. It's actually cooked pretty through. Kent says it's a heavily processed Colombian sidra from Wilder Lazo. Oh, nice. It's kind of crazy, but good. Oh, awesome, awesome. PowerPoint says it's a great. It looks like a great. And actually, I'm really surprised how nice it is. Okay, rip off the top. Okay, we'll rip off the top. We'll rip off the whole top as much as we can. There it is. So pretty nice. I mean, I think it's a nicely done muffin. Heavy, nice flavor, not too sweet. Good crumb, moist. It doesn't feel too dense. Structurally, it feels like it's gonna fall apart. Like the way it feels, you don't want to be walking down the street eating it, right? In one hand, trying to one hand it, because it would just be like all over the place. Dwight Rames says, good morning for the Philippines, kapatid. Good morning to you, kapatid. So we are here in rural Pennsylvania, Milton, Pennsylvania, at a place called The Well, The Well Coffee House, which is at some Christian church, school, parking lot. Having not bad coffee, not bad. From a fancy Slayer espresso machine. And a pretty darn good muffin. That probably was made in-house, I'm guessing. Peter says low and slow. Anton says, I would eat that muffin with teaspoons and not get sticky hands. No, you're not weird. I think I'm the one that's weird, right? Well, at least not for muffins, but in Filipino culture, we have this thing called like eating with something called kamayan, right? Kamay means hand. Kamayan means eat with your hands, right? So Filipinos like to eat with our hands, right? We like to use our hands, and I can be in almost any setting. Like even if I'm in the fanciest of restaurants, there's a point where I'm eating, and if I'm enjoying the meal, like I want to switch to the hands at all times. Steak, turkey, pizza, whatever it is, I want to switch to the Kamayan way, right? Because it's just a guttural feeling. It's just a feeling you feel like even the way that I'm holding this, like when I was pulling on the crumb, right? Like a lot of people just hold it like this, but Filipinos, right? Because we eat rice, right? You have to hold it in a certain way so that you can kind of like control it. And then to me, it's second nature. And so everything I'm doing, I'm like wanting to use my hands. And I mean at all times. I could be at the fanciest restaurant, I still am like, time to switch. Time to switch. PowerPoint says, my top three things to eat with coffee. Buttered wheat toast. Ooh, I like that. That sounds great. Anything with a lot of butter. Number 2, Queen Amant. You know, I went to a place called Tate in Hingham, Massachusetts last week. While we were there, both my father, my cousin, and I, my 2 cousins and I, we went. And I ordered one of their Queen Amants, really pretty shop in this like fancy suburban part of Hingham. Terrible. Like if it was just a plain old croissant, pretty good. But as a Queen Amant, oh gosh, it missed the crispness, it missed the structure. Oh, so disappointing. But I totally am with you. Queen Amant is excellent, and that Cannelé de Bordeaux. Oh. One of my good friends, he's a chef. You can look him up. His name is Chris Harvey, Kriss Harvey. Really amazing chef overall, but amazing patisserie, amazing chocolatier, and he has this recipe for the canelé de Bordeaux that is awesome. He like took him like 15 years to perfect this recipe, and then finally, when he finally perfected it, I was in LA one year, and I was like, dude, he's like, dude, I got it, it's done. I was like, what are you talking about? My canelé. I was like, and here's the thing: don't just call it. Don't be like me. I'm like, oh yeah, the canelé. He's like, no, 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 not just canelé. Canelé de Bordeaux. Canelé de Bordeaux. So after that, after he kind of drilled that into me, every time it's like, it's not canelé, it's canelé de Bordeaux. And he's an American guy, so canelé de Bordeaux. But he's all like rolling. That's like funny. But he's a great guy, great guy. Sophia says, I believe that is good. It's really quite nice, quite nice. Power Plant says the honorable mention hamburger, but not the cheeseburger. What? Not the cheeseburger. Oh, with coffee. Yeah, yeah. We did eat that. Speaking of which, Power Plant, since you're in Japan, and we're talking about eating and food, one of my favorite places for a meal, if you're in Tokyo, I don't know if you've heard of this place. It's kind of close. It's sort of kind of close to Shibuya Station. Basically, you go out of Shibuya Station, out of the JR station, right? Hachiko's on the left, and you walk across the scramble and up the main dori, right, where all the people, all the shops are, right, the one that's like straight across, where the next to where the Starbucks used to be, right, up that, what, like Tatsubaya, right, whatever it's called, Tsuya. Anyway, you go up that, and you go up, and you go past the Swatch stop, the Swatch store, and then I think it dead ends on where the Outback Steakhouse is. Turn right, and then make this the first left, and then go up a little bit more, and there's like the Oslo Brewing Company, and just past that on the right, there is this place called Katsudonya Zuicho. Man, I would like for you to go check it out one day and tell me what you think. Because to me, that is hands down the best tonkatsu don I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm like, I tell everyone to go there. And it's not the typical tonkatsu don that you get at other places, right? Where they cook it with the mirin and stuff, and the eggs and the onions, and then they don't do that. They get the pork cutlet, they bread it, they deep fry it. Then they fry an egg in a pan, they put it on top of the egg, and then they put it on top of the rice, and they ladle on some of the sauce. Man, after I found that place in like 2015, I think it was, I've never missed a trip to go there. Like, we always must go there. It's like Cafe del Hombre and Tonkatsu Donya Zuicho or Katsudonya Zuicho is like the places that I must go. So I don't know if you've been there, but let me know if you ever go. I would like to hear what your thoughts are. Dwight says, I had a nice chocolate chip cookie from a decent local bakery today. Oh, I wonder which one. Well, tell me which one. I'm always interested to know of bakeries, especially in the Philippines, for whenever I get back. And Dwight says, come on, almost any food we eat can be eaten. Of course, it should be, man. It should totally be that way. Anton says, for me, the hands are like the tool of finesse. So they always had, yes, finesse for sure. And it's funny because, I mentioned this, I think, yesterday. When I was in Dubai, my friend Gautam took me to that Afghani restaurant. I was talking about the lassi. And, Gautam is really from India. Like, it was weird for me to realize that. I don't know why, but it's like I'm kind of dumb in this respect. Because, I have a lot of Indian friends here, right? But they're all Indian Americans. They grew up here. Their parents immigrated, but they all grew up here. So I see kind of everyone that I meet that's Indian in that way. And, like, I always see Gautam as that way. Like, oh, he probably... Not that he did grow up, but I just think, oh, he must have the same experience growing up. But no, he's actually from India. Like, he grew up in India, moved to Dubai. And he's eating, and he's like super strict with, we're eating at the Afghani restaurant. It's all by hands, right? And he's super strict, right? Because he never touches the food with the left hand, only with the right. And as we were eating, I was like, oh, wow, that really is a thing. And I'm sure you guys know why, so I won't necessarily go into that, but I just never seen someone with such discipline eating in that way. Like Filipinos, Yeah, we use both hands. Both hands are coming together because there cannot be enough time between bites to right. It's kind of like why we use fork and spoon. Right? We're not using chopsticks. We're not just using a fork and knife. We're using a fork and spoon because you know what? You cannot get the right rhythm of eating unless you can go both hands, right? Like that. That's my philosophies. Those are my philosophies in life. Peter says almond croissant. Oh, he likes almond croissants. Excellent. Anton likes marzipan croissants. I don't really see marzipan croissants here in America. Actually, I think a lot of people in America just hate marzipan. I think they hate it because, you're supposed to hate it. I don't know why. They just don't like it. I don't care. I don't mind marzipan, but people hate it. Peter says, when I'm in Japan, I'll be living off 7-Eleven's. Lawson has some good stuff too, and Family Mart. It's not all 7-Eleven. The major reason I go to 7-Eleven is because they have the most reliable ATMs in the country. So it's the only place I can get cash. I learned that the hard way. When I started going back to Japan, the first trip I went to in 2007, I'm going to bank to bank to bank. I'm like, none of these ATMs work. Nothing works on the Sears network. What is going on here? And then finally someone's like, you need to go to the 7-Eleven. I was like, what? 7-Eleven? They're international banks. I was like, oh, okay. But I don't really, you see a lot of people talking about going to eat at konbinis in Japan, and I almost never eat at the konbini. Like maybe, I'll get it, late at night, if I'm at the hotel, and typically there's a konbini downstairs, at the hotel that I stay in recently in Ginza, there's a Lawson downstairs, so I go to the Lawson. And I get a soda, maybe some chips, but I never really... There's too much good food to eat in Tokyo or that to go eat at a konbini. Yeah, sure, the sandos are good. Sure, the fried chicken can be nice, but you know what, man? If it's a choice between konbini sandwiches and going over to Katsudonya Zuicho, I'm headed to Zuicho, baby. There ain't no stopping me from Zuicho. Powerplant says, I'm not a huge fan of pork, so katsudon I rarely eat. I understand. Well, this is where I think it's worth... If you ever think that I'm going to have pork, it's worth checking out. I think it's worth checking out. I have the thick one in Osaka. And this one is not... there's some places they're like, they want to give you this. No, it's not. It's probably about that thick. I tell you, the balance is beautiful. Beautiful. And they only have this dish. This is it. They want one dish, 2 different sizes. And the difference in size is how much rice they give you. They offer you barley tea, cold barley tea. And if you want a beverage, it's only Sapporo. Is that right? Or maybe Asahi. I can't remember exactly. But there's a beer. And that's it. That's all. You get tonkatsu don in small or large with barley tea and a beer. And you pay for the beer. You don't pay for the tea, you pay for the beer. Powerplant says, I like the beef one better. Gyukatsu. I like it cooking on the little stuff. Oh yeah, that is fun. I have had the Kuroboto one in Kumamoto. Pretty good. I have not had that one. I would like to try that. Dwight says it's called Constancias. It's kind of new. What I've been thinking about Dwight lately is I've been looking at pictures of the butaka, the chair. And so those of you who might be familiar, you guys know that I've been obsessing about this woodworking thing. And there's this chair in the Philippines called butaka, and it's kind of this not really a chaise lounger, but it's kind of a lounging chair that's made with Nara wood, and Nara is really popular in Philippine furniture. But most parts of the world where a certain wood is popular, it's popular because it's the most ubiquitous wood in that area. So a lot of it's made with Nara wood with rattan weaving, right? So there's a woven mesh for the seat backs because it's a tropical climate, so it's hot and humid, so you want to have as much. But these lounger, they're pretty raked, and what they have are these very long arms, super, and I mean not long, but I mean super long, because the idea is that you could not just lounge back in it, but you could also, the arms are long enough so you could kick up your legs and hammock in the chair. And I've been thinking about making one. I was like, oh, I want to make one of those. That's what I've been thinking about lately. Or at least the last 2 days. Dwight says they do buy one, take one every 6 p.m. Oh, for all pastries. Okay. Peter says I'm more Vietnamese pho kind of guy. Oh, Vietnamese pho is always very good. Well, it depends. When you get that nice, super complex broth. Oh yeah, it can be lovely. Power Plant says that one of my friends in grade school was from Highcast. Never knew it until I visited their home, and it was crazy ornate. All their furniture had color. Yes, it's funny because I have something very similar to that, right? One of my best friend in college, right? He was kind of weird, a little bit strange. He was a Thai guy with a British accent. And I was like, okay, you're weird, dude. He's like, well, you have an American accent. You're weird. I was like, oh, I'm normal, dude. I'm American. Anyway, so we were hanging out, and he had these initials in the front of his name. And I was like, what are these initials? He's like, no big thing. So his girlfriend moved to Hawaii. And she ends up moving into my building, and she lives like downstairs one floor. So her and I became very good friends, very close. And one day I was asking, what's this with the initials? He's like, oh, that's his title. I was like, what are you talking about? He's got a title. I was like, what? Yeah, he's part of, royalty or something. And I was like, what? This dude? Royalty? This weird, crazy guy? I can't believe it. But turns out he was. So, kind of funny how you meet people and they're kind of like, and then like a lot of the guys we would hang out with in college, like they came from some very like he was high caste, right? Like everybody, a lot of the other kids that I ended up being friends with were like just came from rich families in their home country. Like one guy was from Japan. His father was like either vice president or president of Fuji TV at the time, and like another one was her father like ran ABC News her father ran Capital Cities Broadcasting, which owned ABC News. And then another girl that we knew, man, her father, well, we don't really know, but her father was not allowed in the United States. we think he's an arms dealer. But because she would come to school every year and she would rent a car. Like that was her thing. She'd rent a car for the entire semester. Just whatever car she wanted, she just rented it and just kept it. Never had to worry about it. I was like, wow, this is just crazy. The people I hung out with were kind of crazy. Like the one guy whose father was Fuji TV, like he bought an Acura NSX when we were in college. I was like, dude, you have a what? You have a what? But he had his beat up like 1982 he had a beat up like 1977 Subaru station wagon, like, the old school, like super beat to hell, like all kind of rusty. And he would use that to go surfing. So he would have the NSX from Acura and then the Subaru wagon for going out. It was like strange guys. Anton says, I'm more a bratwurst mit sauerkraut guy. Ooh, bratwurst. I like that. I'm actually more of a Baronwurst. I don't know if Baronwurst is very popular there, but I mean, I presume it is. But I like it because Baronwurst is smoked and has the little, at least the ones that I get at this German sausage joint in Baltimore, they've got little like mustard seeds in it. That's what I just buy. I've really gotten to the point, I'm really only buying that. Sometimes I'll buy the Landjäger, but otherwise, I'm really into the Baronwurst. Dwight says that one of the things Filipinos do is they can partner with any food with rice. Oh yeah, coffee would work. Like I have eaten pizza with rice. Like there's pizza, there's cold pizza, and there's rice, and I'm hungry. Well, I'm gonna eat them both together. Like there's no limit. There's no limit to rice. No limit to rice in the Filipino mindset. Although one of my Filipino girlfriends, I think she thought I was crazy like that. She was not too into that. Peter says, oh yeah. Power Plant says, Peter, when you're in Japan, go to the supermarkets at 8 p.m. You get 50%. Really? I will remember that. I will remember that too. Peter says, I'll be sleeping. Is that I have seen like people talk about that. I wonder if that's a comfortable thing to sleep in the internet cafes because you really they don't have beds, right, per se. They just have a way for you to like hide out for the night. I mean, it's good if you miss the train. It's probably a good thing. It's probably the best thing to do. Well, we missed the train once back in the '90s when I was in Tokyo. I went to some of my friends were living there from college, so we went out. We went to Disney, Tokyo Disney, and then on the way back, we went back to somewhere, and I forgot what we did. And then eventually, I totally lost track of time, and the train was done. Right? I was like, and I forgot where I was staying, but I was staying kind of far. I had to walk. I walked back. I was like, I walked like kind of across Tokyo. I was like, I didn't know how to get a cab at the time. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's just being cheap or something. Because cabs are always been expensive. But I was like, oh gosh, I have never missed the train again. I was like, after that, it's like, okay, I will not miss the train anymore. Power Plant says convenience stores are better than the U.S., but still trashy. Yeah, I mean they're convenience stores, and they. If we compare what's offered, what's on, if I compare what's on offer at the konbini in Japan versus what's offered at the convenience store here, it's definitely better there. Like I was at the convenience store Sheets the other week. I was kind of hungry. I stopped in. I was like, let me see if there's something that I can grab here. But it's all trash. I mean, it's really like really just rubbish food. I ended up buying like a bunch of like bagged nuts, bunch of almonds, like roasted almonds, because that was the only thing that was like remotely like better to eat. Otherwise, it was like pizzas and hot dogs and like candy bars and chips. I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I do not want to do that. I want to save myself for Bojangles. So, but yeah, I don't really eat at those either. Like, I mean, like I said, I'll get a soda late night. I did buy some whiskey there last time because I was like, ooh, a little bottle of whiskey. I'm going to take that home with me. And it was cheap. So, Dwight says, is that like a rocking chair? So they do make the chair in a rocking chair as well. They do make rocking chair versions. Most of the ones I've seen were not rocking chairs. I think my Lola had one back in her house when I was a child. But I gotta call. I've been thinking about calling some friends here and seeing who might have one in America, so I can go look at one to get some measurements. I want to measure out like how long should the arms be. Anton says best convenience store is Edeka in Germany. Oh, I have not. I don't think I've been to many of the German convenience stores. I imagine the chocolates are good. Proplan says we all those. It must be nice kind of people. We all know it. Yeah. It must be nice. But I gotta say, my friend, like he used to do crazy things. Like he would call me, he'd be like out of the blue, he'd be like, hey man, can you give me a lift? Sure. Where do you want to go? Like this is like our freshman year. He's like, can you take me to BMW? What? BMW? All right. Like I'd pick him up and he'd be like, where are we going? BMW. And they'd go and buy BMW. Convertible. I mean, we're 19 years old. Or 18 years old. He's buying a BMW. I was like, what are you doing? At the time, BMW was like $35,000. Like, what are you doing? You crazy? And then later, a couple years later, and here's the same call again. Hey man, can you give me a call? Can you give me a lift? Sure. Where are we going? We'll go to Porsche. Good Lord, dude. So him and our other friend, the one that had the NSX, I picked them both up, took them both to the Porsche dealer, and they both bought matching 911 Speedsters in black and white. And I was like, dude, you guys are fucking nuts. You guys are nuts, man. What is going on here? I mean, at the time, these cars were just over $100,000. And this is like 1991 or like 1990. I was like, what in the world are you guys crazy? You crazy guys. But I have to say, my friend, he had some money, whatever money he had, but in the years that have passed, he has taken that money, he has parlayed his wealth into greater wealth. So he's done very well. He's done very well. Much respect to him. Like he's not one of those people that came up without any need or any worries, and just kind of languished, he really has done a lot more with his stuff. So I'm always very always very impressed by that. A lot of people you meet may not have done those kind of things, or may not have even done very much good for society, but he's done very good. He's done very well, and I think he's done his community well as well. So Anton says that the Thuringer Ross Bratwurst is the best. Oh, okay. Thuringer. I don't think we have that in America. I will look for that next time I go. Anton says milk rice with coffee will work for me. So would that be say with milk with rice, like kind of a mixture, and then with coffee? I think that would be very nice. Peter says I like cream rice. Oh, that sounds good too. Anton says that's even sold in supermarkets, milk rice with coffee flavor. Oh, okay. Pizza and rice as well. Yeah, it was just one of those times, man. Just can't say no. Can't stop, won't stop. That kind of thing. It's not comfortable, but cheaper for the internet cafes. I hear you. But but that's the thing is like, if I'm out all day long wandering around Tokyo, like I'm going, like when I'm in Tokyo, I'm going all nonstop. Especially lately, it's been like I'm shooting the videos. So like, I want to go to place, and shoot and hang out and visit friends. And I don't know if I would want to I think it's worth the extra money to stay in a hotel. And I have been able to find a hotel in Tokyo for as low as $65. And the last time I paid them was the most I'd paid in a while, which is $85 a night. And these are at new hotels, modern, clean, small, well located. Like I've been staying in Shimbashi and Ginza for the last 5 years, 6 years, because I just like that area. And it's close to Cafe del Lumbre, which I always want to go to as much as I possibly can. But also because the problem is that if I stay in Ginza, which is 2 blocks from Lumbre, theoretically I'm going to go there a lot more. But I actually end up going there less because I'm out during the day, and I don't necessarily want to come back in the middle of my outing to go to Alhambra. So I end up going less than I would when I stayed at down by what's it called? Down by either when I was staying in Shinjuku or over down by in the south. What's that called? That area? I was staying at a place called the Celestine Hotel, which is close to Tokyo Tower, and then I've also stayed down in. I always forget the name of this place. Shinagawa. So, yeah. I just looked for the correct translation of milk rice of rice. Oh, rice pudding. Gotcha. Okay. Devin Patel says, I want to save myself for Bojangles. Oh, I'm glad somebody caught that. Power Plant says, rice pudding is my jam. And Peter's rice pudding is cream rice. And Power Plant says, more reasons why Seoul is nicer to me is that you get a much lower cost for almost everything that you buy. Wow, really? So Seoul, I haven't really paid attention, but Seoul is cheaper because Japan right now has been relatively affordable, especially with the change in rates. I was like, oh. But hotel-wise, I found nice hotels, mostly in the B line of hotels. There's a place called the B in Shimbashi that I've stayed at quite a few times. Nice. At the time that I started staying there, it was brand new. And then lately I've been staying at the Sotetsu Fresa Ginza Nana Chome Hotel, which is right by Lambre. And it's in the middle of Ginza. And the last time I was there, I paid last year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, I paid $85 a night, which I was kind of like, that's kind of expensive because the year before I paid $75 a night. So I was like, and then at the B I was paying $65 to $75 a night. So but here's the thing: if I go to London or New York, if I was to find a hotel room at those prices, it'd be a rat trap, it'd be a drug den, it'd be horrible. Like my cousin one year when I went to London, he was like, I called him up. I said, hey, I'm coming to London. Let's hang out. And he's like, because he lives an hour outside the city. He's like, cool, I'm going to rent you a hotel room. I was like, well, you don't have to rent me a hotel, dude. So I'm the kuya, I'm the older one, right, in the family. And he's like, I guess he feels this a need to show respect to me. And I'm like, you don't have to buy me a room, man. I can rent my own room, no big deal. He's like, no, no, I'll take care of it. No, no, I'll be fine. It'll be great. I'll get a room. We'll hang out. All right. So he rents this place, and I get there first. And man, 90 quid a night, right? 90 quid. And I have slept in some really kind of strange places, but this place really scared. Like, I was scared. I was like, it looks dirty. It feels dirty. It's like a drug den. Like, it looks like there's rats and roaches everywhere. Like, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can. I'll stay here one night, but I'm gonna have to find a way to get out the next night. And then my cousin arrives, and he's like, man, poor guy's so embarrassed. Like, he's horrifically embarrassed now. And he's like, oh no, you can't stay. You can't stay. I said, no, no, dude, it's all right. We'll stay one night, and then no problem, no big deal. So no, 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 no. And thank God, because I really didn't want to stay. But I was gonna. But I know it's like, I don't want to put him out. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'll take care of it. We'll get you a new place. I said, no, you're already in it for 180 quid, almost 200 quid. Like, it's fine, you know. So he finds this other hotel, the King George, I think it's what it's called. Also in the same neighborhood. Gorgeous. Like, this place is awesome. Like, I was like, oh, this is epic. It's an epic place to stay. But it's 250 quid a night. And he bought it. And I was like, oh, you know, dude. I was like, I'll just go to the Holiday Inn. Let's just go Holiday Inn. Let's go cheap, right? He's like, no, 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 we'll just stay. I said, you gonna get a room? He's like, no, I can't afford it. I was like, dude, he's in it for like almost 500 quid now. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to do, like, just stay here too. Like, I don't care. I'm not bringing girls home. And so, you know, it was like, I was like, but what I mean by that is that it's like, it's so expensive to stay in New York and London. And it's far worse. They're far worse cities than Tokyo. Like, I dread going to New York. I kind of dread going to London now. Like, I don't dread going to London as much as I used to. Like, I'll go, and I'll go to New York if I have to. But like, it's always so. Like, at least in New York, one of my good friends like lets me stay at his place in Chelsea, so it doesn't really cost me anything. Maybe a meal. But like, if I had to stay at a hotel, it'd be like what, $300, $400, $500 a night. You're like, oh God, it's terrible, terrible. Power Plant says Japan still tolerates smoking in many restaurants, which is disgusting. I hear you, man. I hear you. You know, I hear you, but you know, as someone that enjoys cigars from time to time, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Like, they still have coffee shops where you can have a cigar. I'm very pleased with that. You can't smoke cigars at Lambre anymore. Like when I went, like the last time I was there, the first thing Fujihiko was like, he's like, there's no more smoking. I was like, oh, damn it. That was my greatest pleasure. My greatest pleasure was sitting here at the bar, smoking cigars, drinking your coffee. But c'est la vie, c'est la vie. What can you do? What can you do? The times they change. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a time and place for it. Not everywhere it should be. Like, and I remember like coming from the clubs. Like, I used to club in the 80s and 90s, right? So like, or especially in the 80s. Many a night I would come home reeking of cigarette, just reeking, like it's just horrible. And I never smoked. So I was like, oh, this is terrible. You know, like you and your girl, you're like all like, you know, whatever. And like, you're all reeking of tobacco, cigarette smoke. You're like, this is not romantic. What kind of thing is this? Anton says they actually have good Wi-Fi. It's all they're known for in Germany, the Wi-Fi region. You know, the Wi-Fi would just connects you to the world. It's beautiful, beautiful. All right, so it's 11:16 here on my clock, so I should be there. I told them I'd be there by 11:30, so I got to go do my meetup with my guy here today. So let me sign out. We'll be back again tomorrow with another coffee Q&A to end up our week. If you're free tonight or later today for wherever you are in the world, and you're interested in what Power Plant will not be interested in some coffee and cigars, I do the Thursday night hang at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Ono Live channel for the Coffee and Cigar Show. So if you're interested, maybe come join us. If not, no worries. Back again tomorrow here on the Coffee Q&A. Hope you have a wonderful time out there, and see you next time.